right, the next one we're looking at is going to be the mounted position. Now, coaches, parents, anybody associated and watching this, you have to understand that this, as well as the back position, are marquee positions for Sidewinder Jiu-Jitsu. We have to be proficient here. So we are going to be very, very strict on what we see out of these athletes when they come to the mounted positions, because the bottom line, end of story, we expect to finish from these positions. These are fight-ending positions. We have to be dominant. We have to be proficient. If we get to these positions, we want to know that these athletes can finish this fight at any time they want. Okay, so the very important key aspects that we're looking at right here, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate those for you now. So offensively, using the mounted position, we want to make sure that our athletes understand a couple of things. That being down over the hips, when we start talking about the defensive capacity, is when a person starts to elevate, that throws us out of position from the mounted position, okay? So we don't want to have our body completely resting down on them. We do want to make use at times of active toes. We want them to understand how to maintain a balanced position. Moreover, the importance of not getting their arms trapped in here for that basic fundamental trap and roll position. We don't want this. We want to make sure that they understand the swim concept, that if somebody grabs my hands, I'm going to swim out. Okay, so we want to make sure they understand the importance of posts with the hands as well as head posts, and we also need to make sure they're not doing this, that they have a tendency to want to put their head down and work down at an angle into their opponent. Additionally, the concept of working the corners, and they'll hear the coaches saying this a lot. Attack your corners, attack your corners. That corners terminology is simply referring to the elbows. So what we're looking for is we're looking for them to come in here and get an elbow to elbow position and start to flare those elbows up and then get up under the heads. We want to get a double underhook position, and then once we create this space, we need to fill that gap. So we want to make sure they understand the principle of climbing. So we're asking them, climb, climb, climb. You're going to hear coaches at tournaments, coaches on the mats, screaming, work the elbows, attack your corners. They're simply looking for them not to do it like this, but to make a hook, come up underneath and flare that elbow up, and then start to climb and trap the arms above their head. We're looking for this right here in any capacity whatsoever, okay? So maintaining the mount, super, super important here, and understanding the concept of attacking the corners, keeping your head down. We also don't want to see a lot of them looking up like this and taking the weight off of their opponent. They need to be up high, head needs to be down, need to be demonstrating that they can maintain pressure, okay? On the defensive side, oh, one thing real quick on this. We also need to understand or see that they understand the concept of quarter and full turn defense. I'm sorry, I forgot that. A person down here is going to do one of two things. They're either going to quarter as a defense, okay? Or they're going to do a full turn defense, meaning they turn all the way to their stomach. And very rarely are you going to see that happen against a seasoned jiu-jitsu fighter because they give up the back. Most of the time, you're going to see a quarter turn defense. So we want to make sure that these athletes understand a basic ability to slide up, get off, and attack the back from that quarter turn position. Moreover, if they reach into an opponent that decides to just turn all the way over, that they understand how to maintain a position of topside. Now keep in mind that they're working from the absolute best position in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is top rear mount. Okay, bottom rear mount on the hierarchy is one below that, and it's right here. So for purposes of the mounted position, we want to make sure that they understand this concept, that if a person quarters on them, they need to slide up and start trying to attack a more beneficial position on the hierarchy and attack the back. And this is very, very basic, okay? On the defensive side of the mount, we're pretty basic. We want to make sure that the athlete on the bottom understands they cannot allow them to climb up. They have to make sure that they stay down low, and they want to keep their elbows here tight. They don't want to be reaching out. This is another big problem that young grapplers start to make. They extend themselves out and they open themselves up for submissions. So we want to make sure they can keep them here, and they understand the concept of elevating their hips, and at the apex of the elevation, simply turning. This is called the quartering we referred to earlier. Then they need to be looking at attacking the knees. Start to attack the legs and the knees, create that space that's needed to start working their way out. So basically, not turning all the way to their belly, but that when they're in the mounted position, if a person climbs all the way up on them, they have the capacity to shuck them back down, bridge, and turn and get off of their back. That's the biggest thing that we want to make sure we see.